There is a recorded case of hysteria in a large French convent in 1844. One nun began meowing like a cat, and shortly thereafter, every nun in the convent began meowing together for several hours at a time. This lasted until soldiers accompanied police to the entrance of the convent, and the nuns were informed that they would be whipped by the soldiers until they stopped meowing. Cotard's syndrome, also called walking corpse syndrome, is a condition wherein the patient believes they are dead, dying, missing parts of their bodies, or don't exist. Some people with Cotard's syndrome may stop speaking or eating since they believe they're dead. The only person to have survived death by electric chair, 17-year-old Willie Francis, reportedly described, "I tried to say goodbye but my tongue got stuck in the peanut butter and I felt a burnin' in my head and my left leg, and I jumped against the straps." Fatal familial insomnia is a rare genetic degenerative brain disorder wherein the affected individual is unable to sleep. The disorder may begin mildly but gradually worsen, causing mental and physical deterioration. There is no known cure, and eventually, the disorder leads to death. In 2015, former chief of the FBI's elite serial crime unit John Douglas said, "A very conservative estimate is that there are between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time. Around 4,400 unidentified bodies are recovered each year, according to NAMUS. Subsequently, after 1 year, around 1,000 of those bodies still remain unidentified." Scaphism is an alleged ancient Persian execution method that entails the victim being laid on their back between two fitted boats with their head, hands, and feet sticking out. The victim is then forced to eat and is covered with milk and honey to attract flies and vermin. The boat is left out on the water, exposed to the sun, until the victim dies. Citizen versus is a rare genetic condition wherein the positions of the organs in a person's chest and abdomen mirror normal anatomy. For instance, their heart is on the right side of their chest, not their left. The last execution by guillotine happened the same year the first Star Wars movie premiered. On May 25, 1977, Star Wars Episode IV, A New Hope premiered in the US. About 5 months later, on September 10, 1977, Hamid Jandabai was the last person to be executed by guillotine in France. Certain species of male anglerfish mate by biting a female anglerfish so that his mouth fuses to her body. Ultimately, their epidermal tissues fuse, and their circulatory systems are united so that the male, whose single function is to produce sperm, becomes dependent on the female for blood-transported nutriment, and the female becomes a kind of self-fertilizing host. This is called sexual parasitism. Of the total 2,368 species of bacteria identified in 60 belly buttons swabbed in an experiment by researchers, 1,458 species may be new to science. One person's belly button had bacterium that has only been found in soil in Japan, but the person had never been to Japan. Pretty much every adult human has a population of demodex, also known as eyelash mites, living on them. They're arachnids that live in the hair follicles of your face and eat sebum. When you sleep, they crawl out onto your skin to mate, then go back to lay their eggs. Polydactyl is actually a dominant trait. That means that having 5 fingers per hand and toes per foot is a recessive trait. The rat king is a folkloric phenomenon where a group of rats who live so closely together gets their tails entwined, creating a single mass of rodents. While some believe this is not a myth, the origins stem from the Black Death, when rats were blamed for spreading the plague. Certain butterflies drink blood, urine, excrements, sweat, and fluids from decomposing carrion. Pigs will eat a human body, including bones, leaving only teeth behind. In 2012, an Oregon farmer went out to feed his animals and didn't return. When his family went to check, they found his dentures and parts of his body in the pig enclosure. Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of Dolls, is a small island south of Mexico City that is full of dolls hanging from trees and buildings. According to the island's history, caretaker Don Julian Santana Barra found a little girl who had drowned in the canals. He later saw a doll floating down the canal and hung it in a tree as a sign of respect for her. Instead, he was haunted by the girl and began hanging more dolls to appease her spirit, but the dolls became possessed. Julian died in 2001, found dead in the same spot he found the girl, but the island remains a tourist attraction. So, are you creeped out? Or do you have a creepy fact that will trump these? Let us know in the comments below.